Welcome to another episode of the Capital Playbook. My name is Charles Williams. I am the owner and managing member of Pioneer Realty Capital. And today we're so excited to have a special guest, Ms. Marchelle Levy with WFG Title. How are you doing today, Marchelle?
I'm good. Thank y'all for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. So we're going to talk about the title business, the industry, where the industry is going today. I think you're going to find this information very informative. So definitely, this is going to be worth your time. But before we get started with our conversation today, we have those general housekeeping items that we always talk about. We always want to bring great information to you. We can only do that when you show your support. So please like, subscribe, and share. And be a part of this family, be a part of this team. That way we can bring this valuable information to you. And if you have questions, please leave that in the comment section. And we'll be sure and try to get back to you and answer those questions. But with that being said, let's talk to Ms. Marchelle about her company, WFG Title. And you guys are based, where did you say again?
We're based out of California as well as Oregon. Mm-hmm. We're a nationally based company. We can close in all 50 states and one of 6 underwriters in the nation. Privately held. Okay, very good. So, and that's interesting because we were talking about it prior to our show about the fact that really the title business, which you have to have title insurance to close a transaction, it's amazing that with all the transactions that are closed throughout the entire United States, there are only 6 underwriters out there that's closing that. It really hasn't left a lot of room for innovation because it's so closely held. But there's something unique about your company that you guys are doing different. Tell us about that. We're a technology-based company. Mm-hmm. So we focus on technology. In addition to that, very tool-based. Okay. So we have a lot of in-house services that we can extend to our brokers, developers, investors that will help grow their business. Mm-hmm. And their client's business.
Yeah. And so now, generally, when we think of title insurance, we don't think in terms of tools, right?
Right.
But obviously, you guys have seen that there's value you can add to your client by providing certain tools. What are those tools, and how does it add value to your client?
Contingent on the transaction, mm-hmm. We have GIS capabilities. Mm-hmm. So we can look up transmission line, water, flood usage, additional to the zip code, zonability, as well as our underwriters mm-hmm. are specifically trained for the transaction. That's one of the things that drew me to WFG. Not only is it specific to a commercial division, but it's transaction based on industrial, retail family, multifamily, mixed use, land, which anyone that has done the transaction within commercial knows that each one is very unique mm-hmm. to its specific.
So you guys have created this environment to where individuals, certain segments of the commercial industry, you created tools that are specific to them and processes that will allow you to close them more effectively and quicker because you guys understand the transaction better because of the way you're structured.
Correct. Not only tools, but in-house underwriting. Mm-hmm. As far as taking the commercial division and going beyond just a commercial division, but segregating that into the transaction that each broker, investor, developer is moving forward with that at that time.
Yeah. So, I was reading an article that talked about the title industry as a whole, and you and I talked a little bit about it. And it seems that the industry is starting to look at becoming more technology-based. And so what, in layman's terms, what exactly does that mean, in terms of being a technology-based? I know that traditionally, when you're doing GIS and things like that, you have to drive to the site. There's a lot of time that's wasted, right? But the tools that you have, what's different about those?
There are in-house tools. So there's several ways, whether a broker is involved or an investor or a developer, mm-hmm. they usually have to outsource that or keep it in-house. We have an in-house service additional to a zonability, as well as closing platforms. And we're growing upon that as well. I think title insurance can be somewhat dry, so trying to take it to a different level and separate ourselves with technology and going above and beyond and providing that service in a collaborative way is what we're moving towards.
So really the fact that you're able to offer these additional services, it allows you to kind of get involved in the deal even prior, way before it's ready to close.
Right. And to separate ourselves and provide a service that it's not just a title insurance service. It's more of a concierge technology, providing them a platform that they can utilize to better serve their business needs.
So now when does that give you any advantage in your ability to close transactions faster?
Yes and no. It depends on the transaction. If GIS definitely certainly does, but we're exploring that even further and going into the exact utility line mapping. Yes and no.
I can really see how that would be huge when you, especially like as a developer, when, of course, as I mentioned, we develop and we will go and identify land. And before we take that land down, there are certain things you want to know about it, right? And so instead of hiring these outside services to get that information, you guys provide that.
Right.
Now, do you provide it for free?
It's an in-house service, yes.
Wow. That's pretty good. We'll be talking more. I think there are a lot of people out there that really appreciate free, right? But the goal for you is to really build that relationship.
Right. It's and that's one of the things that I've fallen in love with commercial is it's about building the business together, and it's a relationship, and it's a partnership and being collaborative together, and you're only as strong as the network behind you.
Right.
So I want to, and WFG as well, provide the best resources for our clients and grow together.
So how do you compare to the Fidelities, the Chicago titles, in terms of the volume of deals that you guys are closing? Or y'all more of that boutique, service-oriented type shop where you don't have that volume, but you have that quality of service? Where do you land on that scale?
I'd say it was a good mix. We have the volume, and then we have the boutique, and that's what I love about WFG is it's a national company. However, it has a boutique feel. So Pat Stone is our founder, and when I was initially engaged in interviewing with WFG, one of the things that drew me over to WFG is he took the time to fly down from Oregon and meet with me face to face. For a national company to get the founder to come down and meet with you and discuss working together face to face and collaborating and partnering I was pretty impressed. And then once I onboarded, he's still engaged. He wants to be involved front lines with you, and he will come down to Texas. He will come to whatever state the transaction is based on, and he wants to be plugged in and engaged. And you don't see that a lot now on a corporate national level, and that really struck me, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, and WFG has the financial capacity to back its title policies, right?
Yes, we have no debt and over $1 billion in financial backing.
$1 billion?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah, so you guys can certainly carry a lot of paper.
Right, especially within this market. That's a lot to be said for a title company, and with all the changes going on in the market volatility, it's has a very strong standing. So
from WFG's perspective, where do you see the title industry going?
I see it going more on a national level because of most investors and developers are coming into Texas, as you know, and to be able to have that ability to close on a national level, even global, and partnering on that level, additional to having resources and tools and not just being the typical title insurance company and separating ourselves, plus a concierge service where we collaborate, coexist, and communicate and provide that concierge service. on a boutique feel with a national company in the backing.
Yeah. And, again, as I mentioned before, I was looking at this article about disruptors that are coming into the market. I think there's Dorma. I think they're more focused on residential transactions. They've not gotten into commercial yet. But it's along the lines of what we discussed about the technology, using those tools and making those tools available to get searches done quickly, to understand the chain of custody of title better. One of the things the article mentioned was that you might have a property that's transacted 5 times, but they do the same level of research each time you get a new title policy, and there's technology that will decrease that workload, right? And so it's refreshing from a developer's perspective to see title companies starting to adopt this new technology or using technology to help close transactions quicker, and that way our deals aren't closed, aren't tied up. Because a lot of times, as a developer, we have timelines that we have to meet. We have to either close it at a certain time, we have to get our loan at a certain time. There's so many things we have to do, and we get to the title company now, and we just hope, that things going to close. Right?
Yeah, and that's Debbie Hernandez is my commercial closer. She runs the branch for Texas with me. We're very timeline oriented, so whether it be a raw piece of land and it's multiple earnest money deposits, we provide that timeline. We provide the timeline on the whole transaction. In addition to that, as well as the tools that you need, she can help assist in the T19 survey if there's problems with that. And then we have the in-house GIS as well as zonability. So we're really trying to provide a platform. In addition to that, grow upon that. I was on a call with Pat, I believe it was Friday. So not only what we have in-house now, but growing upon that to be ahead of the curve and provide the technology and the platforms to help make our clients' lives easier, and their clients and the buyers and sellers.
Yeah, there's nothing like the unpleasant experience of trying to figure out if you're going to get a title policy or not.
Right.
But I would imagine because you're more service oriented, you're kind of working with that client to deal with issues that may come up the entire way.
And we like to get engaged prior to it even going into a contract or into the transaction, so we can help pre-qualify that for you, because this market's moving so quickly. You need to have that backing when you go in to represent your buyer or seller.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you have a property that is owned by a by a developer, and they're just maybe going to, so they own the property, there's no transfer title, but they're getting a new loan. How does that process work? Because there's no transition of title, does it have to go through the same underwriting that it would go through if maybe with the previous lender? Does that make sense? The question I'm asking.
So as far as, can you transfer the title, or does it need to go
so let's
like
say
a construction loan? Or?
Yeah, let's say that you have a construction loan, and so you're the developer, you own the property, you have a construction loan. Now you're going to go to permanent financing. Okay, so the property is not changing hands, but the new lender needs a title policy. So does it go through the same level of searches and researches and scrutiny that if someone was buying or selling it?
It does. It's a different process, but that's more of a Debbie question.
Okay.
But yeah, there's we do a lot of construction and land to construction, and someone purchased it prior to the developer, and sometimes it's directed from the lender.
Right.
And we'll start from the lender side on the construction side.
Okay. Yeah. And so, and the reason I asked that question is we've experienced that ourselves is with some title companies, some of the nationals, they treat it as if they've never seen the property before.
No.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. It already has a title policy. The property didn't change hands.
Right.
The lender just needs a new title policy.
Right. No, Debbie, yeah. We, I work with a certain individual, and we've done a lot of construction on land and development. And he's one of my best clients. And Debbie has done a great job moving that forward and progressing and not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my experience in the past has been working with title companies. It's kind of like when you're working with your escrow agent or with the local office, everything is good communication. But when it gets to the underwriter, it's kind of like behind a brick wall, and you don't really, and you're just waiting on them to make a decision, right? And which to me is absolutely ridiculous. It's as if you can't have any input because there may be things that they assume that they don't know.
Right.
Right.
And that's why we work hand in hand as a collaborative effort. Our motto is communicate, collaborate, coexist, in-house and out-house. So Debbie and I are very engaged from the beginning through the process, as well as our underwriters. We all work together. And then if it needs to be, we engage Pat Stone, and he wants to be engaged on that level as well. And that's something that I can't say for a lot of companies as far as taking that founder and him. We have several different resources. And if we can't approve it, we're going to tell you from the beginning. So it's not expending your time and energy as well as ours and your clients.
Right. Yeah. And of course, obviously, there are real dollars behind those decisions, and so being able to work with a group that can get involved all the way from the top level, that's extremely important. So, well, good. So what do you see your company in 10 years from now, if you can look into the future and you see WFG? Okay. Now, you mentioned you've been here 2 months.
Yes.
You came over because, this company does have a vision, right? So in 10 years, what do you see this company being?
I see a very successful title company coming into the top in the nation. If not, we already are, but it's an exciting opportunity to where it's going national, and we have a small in-house boutique feel. I only see opportunity and potentially partnering on a global level.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that you guys offer the tools, you're service-oriented, you want to be involved throughout the process, I think you're gonna lay down some real tracks in this industry because and this is the transition that this industry needs to make. There's so much money in title insurance. I was reading an article that stated that of the premiums that are collected, only 3% of those premiums go to paid claims. Okay, so now to put that in perspective, auto insurance, 80% of the premiums that are collected from auto insurance or any other liability insurance on property, 80% of those premiums are used to pay claims. Only 3% in title insurance, right? So, but it's the slowest industry when it comes to adopting technology and to providing the services that developers and owners of properties need. And so it appears that this is something that you guys have seized on, and you're taking this as an opportunity to kind of change the industry. Is that correct?
Exactly. Innovative.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's been great having you on our show. Thank you so much for helping us understand your business better and understanding what's happening with the title industry. And we certainly look forward to having you back on the show as you guys continue to roll out some of the services and some of these opportunities that you see for your clients. So,
thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it, as well as WFG.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. So again, like, subscribe, and share. Be a part of this. We're going to have great conversations. You're going to learn about the title business. You're going to learn about the lending business. You're going to learn about acquiring property, disposing of property, or selling property if you're a part of this show. So again, continue to support us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.